In this presentation, we shall be dealing with the French influence on English language. Bill Bryson calls the Norman Conquest of 1066 the final cataclysm which awaited the English language. When William the Conqueror became the King of England, French took over as the language of court, administration and culture. As is inferred, French continues to be the second largest influence on English language, second only to Latin. According to the existing social conditions, French was largely used by the aristocrats, while English by the common man. The French influence on English language is predominantly found in these four facets. The vocabulary. The dichotomy between the two existent cultures of the period came to influence the social conditions of the time as well. While animals such as pig came to be known by their native terms, the flesh of these animals consumed by the aristocrats were denoted by their French equivalents. Similarly originated terms such as beef, mutton, vengeance, bacon and veal. Also of French origin are words like master, servant, bottle, supper, butter and dinner. In matters of politics, we find abundant French words relating to law, government and property. Words like judge, justice, prison, gold, bill, tax, manor and money were all terms that were derived from the French language. Naturally, terms relating to the military as well were adopted from the French language. In fact, the very word war is of French origin. Other examples are armor, assault, banner, siege, arms, tower, galvas and battle. In industrial civilization, the French-speaking conquerors were greatly superior to the native population, and therefore designations of classes are of French origin. Words like butcher, barber, chandler, tailor, mason, grocer and carpenter are of French origin. Curiously enough, words denoting relationships outside the immediate circle of family were adopted from the French language. Such examples are uncle, aunt, nephew and niece. Phonetics. In matters of phonetics, the French influence caused the voiced fricative to be distinguished from the unvoiced fricatives. The grammar. Old English was an inflected language. During the Middle English period, it lost its inflections and simplified, which was accelerated by the Norman Conquest. Another significant contribution of the French influence was the loss of gender in Old English and the adoption of neutral terms. This was caused by a completely different system of genders that were initially used in French itself. While English in its structural composition places an adjective before the noun, words such as security general was influenced by the French practice of placing an adjective after the noun. And lastly, affixes. With the borrowing of a large number of French terms, French affixes also found their way into the English language. Multiple hybrid terms were thus formed. Before we conclude, we shall briefly deal with the later borrowings that continue to influence English language. The French influence on English language does not end with the Norman Conquest, but rather expands over the 15th century Renaissance, 17th century Commonwealth and 18th century French Revolution. Also persistent in the English language were idioms that were borrowed from French, like s'il vous plaît, or directly translated from French, like how do you do. Doublets are also a common feature of English, like salon or saloon. And thus, we conclude this brief presentation on the French influence on English language.
Created using Powtoon.